Hello, and welcome to the Oscilloscope Deep Dive. I'm Ed Wright. Over there, we have Ben, who is co-hosting with me. Hello, Ben. How are you? And in prime space in the middle, we have Joe Thomas, award-winning composer extraordinaire and guest for today. So, yeah. Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
I'm cool. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, thank you for joining us. It's great to have you on. I was just sort of reflecting upon kind of the work that we're about to listen to, and it's really intriguing having sort of seen you and seen some of your work in kind of earlier days back when I think I must have been undergrad when I first heard your work and ended up nattering, kind of go, wow, that's amazing. And I think it was when Bangor University still used to have the old Students' Union before it got knocked down, and kind of coming to after a concert and go, wow, that I really liked that. I think there was yourself and Rob Mackay sat on a sofa and you said, oh, what did you like about it? And I had the proper undergraduate of, I don't know, I just liked it. And kind of ran off and got another beer somewhere or something, I don't know. But no, it's really great to have you here with us. So thank you. Whereabouts are you? Are you London-based at the minute? Or?
Yeah, I mean, well, I live in Islington in a flat in London. So I'm in my flat, my studio, and and all my scores and art are behind me, I think. So
stealthy advertising for exciting things.
So yeah, I'm in North London. So yeah.
Cool. And Ben, as ever, is joining us from Canada as co-host. With not quite scores and art behind him, but not far off. Is any of that your own work, or
this piece over here is my work? As you kind of catch up a bit. This I will mention, since we're going to just talk about studios. That is an authentic 1979 poster that I've kept for, and
nice,
it because it's been damaged multiple times, so it's had a bit of custom. But 1979 vintage Sesame Street poster. This character scares the heck out of my kids because they don't understand Sesame Street like we used to. Showing my age a bit, but back in the day. But yeah, no, definitely. I got a bit of equipment there for my sound times. That's all unplugged, of course.
Oh,
yeah, we'll get back into that soon.
But I feel I'm going to have to start broadcasting back from upstairs in the studio because I'm feeling thoroughly outgunned, with pictures and a Darth Vader cushion,
It's all inspirational.
There's a violin case hiding there if I really dive that way, but yeah. Occasionally I run away from the desk. Anyway, we're getting ridiculously sidetracked and nattering. So basically today we're listening or going to listen and have a chat about Joe's piece Random Feathers, which is quite a big long track, or not a track, long piece. Several tracks. Is there anything that you want to kind of say about it, or you feel that people should know before we have a listen to an excerpt of it, because it's quite a big significant thing, but for various reasons we only listened to a bit.
It was written for, I went to Stockholm and I kind of like it was a bit of a wild time.
Hey!
And I kind of I went to the studio in EMS Stockholm and I kind of like,
all right, yeah,
I was thinking about different types of material, and the reason why it's very different. You think it's different from the stuff that I normally write. It's kind of, I think that I changed, kind of like people change, don't they? And in their lifetime, and I think
Absolutely.
I have reached a change in my life where I and I could hear it in the sounds that I was making in the studio, but it took me about 2 months after I came back from Stockholm to actually write this piece. So I do a lot of walking, and I went to Holloway, to kind of like the resource centre up the road. It's like a community arts centre, and I met this lady, and she was doing a lending gallery, and she was sort of just starting it and putting it together. And I said, "Oh, why don't I write a piece of music for your gallery?"
We've all done things like that, you know. You see nice people doing things, and you're like, yeah, I want to.
Yeah, why not? And yeah, that's what I did. That's how the piece of work came together. So the reason it's long is because actually it was written for a space. So, and it was played, this lending gallery played the work for like 2 days at a time every month. So when people came in and saw art and then picked up art that they wanted to share with other people, and they would hear the work. Yeah, that's really why it's as long as it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's different when you're writing for spaces.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So yeah, but it taught me as a composer kind of something about trusting my ears, and just staying with things, and I really wanted to stay with the sound. And yeah, maybe that's what I would share.
No, that's really interesting, and yeah, thank you. So I guess without further ado, unless Ben, you want to dive in or ask, or
I'll save it for after.
Okay, yeah. I guess without further ado, we're going to have a listen to an extract from the second part of Random Feathers. This isn't the whole thing. I would really encourage you to go and have a listen to it in full. We're going to put links up along the bottom or in the chat or whatever, so that you can see it and get there. There are various things out there, but yeah, for obvious reasons, it's not suitable for all of us just sitting here right now for X number of minutes and then coming back. So, yeah, without further ado, Joe Thomas, Random Feathers. I don't know if I should clap or let the dust settle. It feels like sort of one of those moments and one of those times of an excerpt ending that you kind of going, oh, okay, it's just a nice.
A little bow and namaste, maybe.
Oh, you hipster, you.
I love that piece, Joe. Thank you, by the way. It's like I said, I mentioned, put in the message today that like I must have listened to it through 4 times this morning just because it was so, just get lost in it. You know what I mean? You don't even know what's going on.
That's yeah, it's meant to be something that you can lose yourself in, and kind of stop time and just concentrate on the sound or whatever you find in it. So that's kind of, yeah, it's nice that you feel that way.
Yeah, pretty instantly. Like Ed was saying, it's kind of that, it's got that meditative feel, but it's got that meditative feel that isn't sort of new agey, more like the sound of chimes in a backyard, kind of more natural as opposed to, like processed to feel that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I generated the sounds from a synthesizer I was working on called Milk, and I was using the pitch, sort of pitch change on the synthesizer, and it was kind of like one of these hack synths with kind of like a person in London, and it's really very sort of hack bass. It's not expensive or anything, but that's why it sounds like that, because it is like that. It's all from the synth, most of it, and then there's some vocal resonances as well.
Okay.
Well, I use my voice or other people's voices in most of my work, so to make sounds.
To give it that's part of that warmth, sort of human feeling to the whole sound. Then is this, the human voice has that different, relationship, right?
And there's lots of there's the spectrum that you have to work with when you're working with the voice, and tonalities and pitch to noise ratios. It's just huge. So that's why I do it. It's like working with an open palette. Everything, and it's amazing.
Yeah, very nice.
At risk of jumping in far too techie far too soon, which I'm well aware I'm about to do so. When you say working with voice, you've got such a rich pitch tonality palette. What do you mean by that? Because I mean, we could obviously stretch all of these things just about everywhere in this day and age, and it sounds like you're setting up some sort of restrictions in what you're doing with that, in a sort of demarcation of trying to still sound natural or trying to still reference something. I don't know.
The voice is a really resonant instrument.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just find it really interesting. I find it a lot more interesting than sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's a lot more interesting to work with people's voices and work with kind of the information held and captured in people's voices, like what they're talking about and where they come from, and mix that with the musical information and the actual sound. Then sometimes it is to work with like I don't know, I'll probably be sacked from everything that I do. sometimes like you can it's just really rich. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
incredibly rich, and I love that richness. And
yeah, there's a lot of various different levels of information held in there, in whatever way you,
isn't it? Yeah.
whatever physics way you look at it or philosophical way you look at it, there are stacked layers of meaning, metaphor, and understanding definitely hiding within that, which yeah,
agreed. It's almost like its own instrument, really, in a way.
It is, yeah.
But also really intriguing then, where you get something like this, whereby all of a sudden, I mean, I didn't necessarily pick up on there being voice in there, but I felt there was a humanity and a warmth to what was going on.
I would definitely second that, Ed. I felt that very strongly as well. Whereas I didn't remember hearing a voice, but as soon as you said there were voices in it, I was like, of course there is, because it just felt right, you know?
Which is it's
because you can hear the vocal material that I was working with, you can hear the bass resonances are actually some of them, not all of them, but some of them are from my voice. So, and you can hear that. I can hear that. But yeah.
Yeah, there was just a message there. It said that if you do, crank up the volume, you hear the depth, and that's true. I found that as well.
Yeah, this is Charles on the private chat who's looking after us in the background. Yeah, who apparently had this cranked on my studio speakers, unquote.
It's I find sometimes electroacoustic music really it's a really strange thing. Gain and volume is a really strange thing.
It is
to work with, because you're working with so much detail and sort of like a maximum gain with threads of sound is like nothing on a normal speaker. You have to crank it up or
Yeah, no, I totally second that. In that it's a very strange animal, and that you spend so long trying to make something wonderful and ideal, and yet then you try to make it work for everything, and the general mastering process is just hideous for that sort of thing. I mean, it really does still remain to some extent, a performance art, I think, in that you need somebody there to curate this thing to be at the level to achieve the thing that is intended. I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about that? Because, I mean, for me personally, I would say that a lot of that thing coming from the electroacoustic sort of background, people compose things to have a given impact or a given silence or any of those kind of trajectories that actually, if you're just listening to it on your iPhone with some headphones whilst you're cooking dinner with the other hand, you're not quite going to get in the same way. So, I mean, where do you sit with that sort of thing,
Well, I have like 2 or 3 different versions of my pieces. So that piece is what you've just heard is a digital file, and that was on kind of like a release digital file. But the one that was played in the gallery was uncompressed. Had no mastering on it. My mastering. And But I wanted to get this done on vinyl, and I tried. I paid for vinyl, and they sent it back to me because of bass. Because of the bass.
All right.
But they refused to do it. The masters refused to do it because the sound waves were so strange. They couldn't deal. The masters couldn't deal with the waveforms, and they said that it wouldn't work on vinyl. And they find it they would have problems in compressing it to go on vinyl. So yeah, it is a strange process, but it's really interesting with music like this because it works with the extremes of the spectrum, and it challenges, I think, everything, but it challenges things on a subtle level, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Chelsea, I did. Vinyl. See, I would love to buy vinyl with this type of music on it.
I would love it as well.
So for everybody who can't see this coming up in the sides, we've got Charles who's taking for us in the background. Just commented, I love that it broke the science of vinyl. I'd love to hear the uncompressed version. There's an entire maybe century of not century, but not far off of music tech that we've all done and all.
Yeah, that's an achievement. An achievement.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good work. I mean, what I was intrigued by with that is also kind of listening to it, and I sort of delved around and had a bit of a poke around the internet with the various links for it. And on your Bandcamp, it says that you're using this with sort of written in summer 2017. I'm using very high frequencies with this work as I want to develop a full ambient reflective space. And I'm probably taking this on far too much of a one-to-one relationship, but my goodness, there's clearly also a lot of bass hiding in there as well. But actually, when you're saying an ambient reflective space, in what sense? Is this in a literal, there's something around you, or is this an internal discourse thing? I mean, or are the two the same? Could you?
Well, the reason I was working with high frequencies because I had these amazing high frequencies from the milk
yes.
Jack Delfs. I was working, he helped me build it, and so I had those frequencies, and I kind of the ambient, I guess, a way to kind of make an ambient space is to bounce frequencies off places so they move around and spin. And I thought that actually the gallery was the place to do that. And even if I only had limited speakers, which I did, we only had one big speaker, it would be able to kind of do that if I was using highs. And that was, that's how I wanted to create an ambient reflective space, but actually I like creating music that I can reflect on. I can reflect in. I wouldn't presume to know or control or want to make people feel anything, you know, with my music, but I really enjoy working with sound and kind of enjoy the challenges and creating pieces of beauty, you know, beautiful things, and things that just kind of make, I don't know, when you look at something beautiful in somewhere, I think you kind of you stop and you reflect on either yourself or things around you or what's happening, and I kind of guess that was that's what I mean about an ambient reflective space. So the difference between an ambient space and difference between an ambient space and a kind of, I don't know, a more directional space would be the form of the music, I guess. More linear
absolutely
form, which didn't
I suppose in some ways it was unkind of me, because it's the sort of, I mean, let's face it, in this kind of discourse, I mean, ambient reflective space are 3 words to utterly pounce on and kind of go, oh my goodness, what could that mean? There are so many different things, but no, I mean, that's
your
lovely.
answer was brilliant. Actually,
I
really like
it goes back to Ben's bow with the namaste moment, and
exactly,
and actually creating things of beauty, which I think is something, I don't know, I wouldn't like to speak for us all, but many of us aspire to, you know, which is great.
That's what we're here
and
for.
I think you've achieved that, to be honest. You know?
Well, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Well, yeah.
It depends. kind of where you are and where it comes with trial and error and practice, and kind of everything takes time, and
So I just from talking to you today, I get this kind of feeling that you have a fusion of, you know, the technical aspects, the equipment and the knowledge of your craft, but there's a lot of sort of, I want to say, for lack of a better word, almost a spiritual element that you're infusing inside your work. And I think that's where the beauty kind of lies, you know, because that's sort of like and the sort of like reflection, self-reflection, meditation, these are sort of things that are sort of lay more in a philosophical or sort of spiritual sort of realm to me, but I like that you're fusing them sort of seamlessly with what you actually do. Like there hasn't really been like a divide what you're talking to us. It's like, well, I do this and it reflects my spiritual self, and it's like, okay, so they are quite linked, or am I misreading you? I feel like they're quite linked, or maybe they're linked and we're just, it's not something you bring up because it's just part of who you are and the way you work. But I do feel like more than other people, there's a direct coalition between your spiritual self and your art practice right now. Like they feel more fused than maybe someone else. I don't know. What do you think of that?
I think that's how I work, actually. So I think it's really good estimation of how I work. I wish there was another word for angel. You know, I keep on writing works about angels, and because I really kind of like, and I sort of I just wish there was another word for angel.
And actually, you say angel, and it's a perfect word. But yeah, I understand what you mean because it has so much context. But actually,
it feels loaded. But yeah.
But actually, because
okay.
That's what. So random feathers is it's just about chance, you know, and things happen in life, and you just have to get on with them. And I think when at that time, I would think that I was I can't even remember what was happening, but something, just said, "Oh, you just got to get on with it," and that's what life is, and but kind of life is also kind of like the chance meeting of minds, and you kind of get what you're dealt with, and you work with it, and you try and just, I don't know, reach a different kind of, well, I like to think of it as a transience, so sort of reaching different points of perspective and places, and people do that as people, and I like to do it in my music.
Yeah, it comes through. It definitely. Like, I'm only reflecting what you're giving us, so like, it comes.
Yeah,
it comes through, and it works really well. Like, it feels like you.
Cranky. This is so deep. I'm gonna get you to edit all this out.
No, it's all good.
It's really no. It's too deep.
No,
it's your work,
that's kind of the point. It's just and now I've got all this swirling around in my head, which on one level is Random Feathers, the next level is Emily Dickinson, the level below that is something that's randomly drifted off the edge of an angel's wing somewhere over there.
Random Feathers isn't about angels. Random Feathers is about people. So people have feathers. People are angels. That's actually kind of like that's what it means. Kind of it's from Emily Dickinson. Well, kind of like it's inspired by Emily Dickinson's poem, but actually the feathers in Emily Dickinson's poem, really, I think they were written, she was writing about people, and Random Feathers is kind of just about sort of meeting people and making, this sort of chance that happens in life as well. Yeah. So actually, when I talk about angels, I mean people, literally. That's so weird, isn't it?
No, it's lovely.
I'm thinking about that film, the film, in Berlin, where these people are standing on buildings and looking over. It's a very famous old film, black and white film, about angels in Berlin, and but they're people, right? That's
nice.
No, that's really cool. I mean, it's really nice.
It is.
Yeah,
it feels like nice to talk this kind of talk on a piece, where we talk about the beauty of humanity kind of stuff here, right?
Yes.
With, like, people are really angels, and it's lovely because actually that comes across in your work.
Yeah,
like what I listened to, I did
the paragon of animals.
If you had said to me, it's all
Ben's just
about anger and how much I hate everything, I'd be like, it would be so off, for me to see that. So I really think you've done well at communicating who you are in your piece, which is really like the ultimate sort of relationship with your own work is clarity to me, So yeah, definitely. I wanted to ask you, now this sort of stuff we're talking about, process, maybe perspective on work, is that sort of universal to all your pieces, because you have a quite a large catalog of work and varied work?
I think actually it is, actually. So not every piece I write is about angels, but I think most of I work with Glitch, and I work with Glitch for a reason, which is it's like to me it's a digital aesthetic, and it's humanity in the digital aesthetic. So where everything else is really, really, really conformed, you have these blips of mistakes, and that is that's the I really kind of try and find them and make them into something something else, or develop them, but they, the glitches are about people. So yeah.
And you do work with people a lot, right? Like you mentioned, you were working with the Welsh, and then I guess I looked on your profile and saw like a lot of community. So people is really relevant, not only as a theme, but like actual as a legitimate part of your piece.
Yeah, I mean, I work with communities, and I'm not, I don't work in a university, and I'm not an academic like Ed. Well, I am, because I have a PhD, but I work as an artist.
We have a PhD and we escaped.
Sounds a lot like Ed.
I work with lots of different people, and and I kind of and I work on big projects and very small projects, and some of my music is really politicized. When I'm angry about something, I'll write work about it. So,
but I mean that from just quickly jumping through SoundCloud and having followed you on SoundCloud for a good few years now, it strikes me as it's all kind of coming from the same place, in that when you're trying to create something beautiful, it's coming from within you. When you're angry at something, it's coming from within you. It feels like a really honest response to the world around, which is quite intriguing, because so many of us, for whatever reason, try to filter things through kind of, what do we think is appropriate for X, Y, Z? How would this fit with it? I mean, we all, to some extent, whether consciously or not, second guess what we think our audience might be. But actually, listening to a lot of yours, it feels very much like it's coming from yourself rather than going to somebody.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
I've got this kind of like, when I'm writing, I'm trying to stop myself. Yeah, I always keep it in mind that I'm not writing to project sound onto people.
No.
And there is a kind of, it's not. I'm writing music at people. I want people to listen into my music.
Yeah.
And I think. So I kind of try and open spaces.
Absolutely.
Able to actually listen into my music, rather than kind of like being faced with a wall of sound. I mean, I love having my work played in concerts. It's the biggest sort of achievement for me, or played on the radio, or a massive acknowledgement. So, but I do want people to stay with the work and listen to it and be with it. So, Yeah, that's kind of what I think about all the time, literally, when I'm writing. And yeah, it's most of my work is about space, different spatial forms, and contours, and metaphors. But I acknowledge that actually I don't have the same affordances as you, Ed, nor you, Ben. So why would I think that you would hear my music the way I hear my music? So so, and I understand that, so
Yeah. No, it feels nice. It's all these things you've mentioned definitely come across in your pieces. And it really is like inviting, where like I was saying to Charles the other day, I think I listen to a lot of sound work, like more than most people, and that's great. And yet because I can recognize when somebody's like holding the door open, as opposed to like, you know what, come on in if you want, if you can handle the sound, you know what I mean? Whereas like this is you definitely feel welcome inside your works, the works that I listened to today, for sure.
It's very it's kind of I don't like concerts like that, but that's kind of like just me. I know when people are doing it.
I gotta admit, I do it sometimes. I try to make sounds that make you go away, but it's for everything.
You can hold the door open and also be loud.
Yes.
Yeah. Come on in, it's going to be great.
I mean, it can be a loud door. It doesn't have to be a soft door.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But somehow making that sort of door, which is important. Oh dear. Metaphorical doors and angels. I mean, which kind of slightly leads me on to the next thing with talking about all of this. When we were first sort of discussing online about the ideas of having this natter and whatnot, you also sent a track which was live Noise Quest stuff, which is something run by Graham Dunning, I think. Who I've not seen since well before lockdown, bless him. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure Charles can flash a link to that, but it feels like that to me almost felt like a live version of some of the ideas that you had with this, which in terms of a concert seems really intriguing. I mean, okay, there it goes. That was super quick. Blink and you really will miss that one. But yeah, so I mean, by the sound of it, you did all this stuff in EMS and then edited this really delicately at home for a sort of library space sort of thing. And then how? I mean, I'm intrigued from a personal technical level. How did you then pull a roughly similar trick to then create what feels like a very connected, if not quite the same thing, to do as a live concert? Because I mean, that kind of fits perfectly with the holding the door open, drawing people in. Okay, we've got this fixed acousmatic piece or ambient or any of those sort of things, and now actually, we're doing this live, and come and listen.
I think Graham streamed it, so I was working on Ableton, but I'm not sure actually. I can't remember whether it was played live.
Oh right, okay.
I did a mix. I did a live mix.
Oh right, okay.
And then I think I can't remember which. I remember doing a mix on Ableton with everything, and then he was using something like this, StreamYard, but he wasn't. It was Is it OMS or it was kind
OBS?
of like, OBS, yeah. And I took the original sounds and worked with them, and then kind of mixed. I think I've worked more bass into the mix and kind of worked with.
I did wonder about that when I sort of jumped from one to the other. It's like,
I knew.
That feels a bit warmer and heavier.
I wanted people to enjoy it and kind of like. It was really. Do you know? I remember, I think it was a Friday night and we were in lockdown and kind of like, I think it just started, and Graham was amazing because he just started this Noise Quest. And I think that was the first one. So it was me and 3 other people, and I'd never done that before. I'd never used that software. And I kind of remember being in my room because I wasn't actually in London and somewhere else, and then doing this and then watching all the text coming up inside, it's kind of amazing. And then I felt so happy that I connected with people, with my music community, because I was so lonely outside. I missed music so much, and then Graham did this thing. It was just the most brilliant thing. I think I just felt like everyone else felt like, but we all got together and then we all shared. I think people bought stuff on Bandcamp and stuff, and it was just brilliant. And I think I don't know. That's why I wanted to share it, because I just thought it was the most brilliant thing. Actually, it's amazing when you share work and you share spaces like this, and it's fabulous that we can share a space that happened last year on on this program. So it's a program, isn't
it? Makes it sound very professional.
I don't know quite what we've decided we are as yet.
I like programs.
We're an event, we're a program, or we just some people gathering together to make noise and nonsense. I don't know.
All
totally.
All of the above.
Yeah, all of the above. Are we just three random people shouting at screens of our own houses, But no, I mean that's really cool. I mean, that sort of feels like a nice place to start winding up. But I mean, is there anything else? I mean, that anybody feels that kind of really want to expound on or say or whatnot? I mean, I don't want to cut anyone's legs out from under them by any means.
Joe, you mentioned, I don't think it was quite on camera yet or recording yet, so what you're working on now. Can you talk about it at all, or is it all hush hush?
No, I can't talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it a tiny bit, but I'm working on I've finished. I'm working on the tape part of chamber work that I finished.
Actual tape, or are we just talking fixed media?
No, fixed digital media. So so I've done it, but now I'm putting the detail in, and that's got a recording in a couple of weeks' time. So that's what I'm working on, and then I've got a couple of projects sort of I can't tell. Actually, I can't talk about
No, it's fine.
You can expect things from you, is what you're saying. Things are coming.
Yeah.
Great things are coming down the line from Joe. You just don't know what they are.
I'm kind of I've got a sound walk group, and I'm working on
Yes, actually, how's that going? Because that's one of those things I'm super jealous of, because I mean, obviously you're London, I'm North Wales, Ben's Canada. For the sound walk thing, that sounds really intriguing. So I mean, what's that doing? How's it going?
It's okay, and we're having a walk on Saturday, and what I try to do in these walks is kind of just listen and share sound, share spaces, and share each other. But I want to kind of I don't know, develop it. So it's it's something that's I'm looking at developing, because it's so small. Mind you, the fluidity of it is because it's small, and it's not like big and brash and posh and whatever. It's kind of I can do it with my label anywhere. So and just set up a walk, and like can do it in Minna Bridge, and Anglesey, or Highbury, or Scotland, do sound walk in Scotland. I really like walking. I think I and I like listening, and I think it's just really good it's really good for me.
Absolutely, yes.
So that's
well put.
I think that's but I'm not like sort of I don't write essays about sound walking or anything.
Sometimes it's better to do it than to write about it.
It's nice to be with people and kind of like a group, and just to kind of like have shared listening experience. I've been doing a radio show on Resonance for the last year about sound walking, and
cool.
Doing is recording. Taking recordings of places and putting them in the program, and then playing music, and it's been great. But I'm kind of I want to focus more on the walking and less on the radio production time now.
Yeah, I suppose it goes back to the age-old thing of somehow documenting the thing upsets doing the thing you were trying to do in the first place.
Yeah, I think it's great,
Yeah,
find your passions. And
absolutely. Are there links? Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to ask Ben if he's heard Massive Angels. So no. Yeah. Did you hear it, Ed?
No, actually.
No. Because I wrote it. It was about wind turbines. I thought.
Yes, I was kind of aware of it in the background, and I never. Like all the 1,000 things that you're supposed to be listening to.
You've got wind turbines in Clever Method, haven't you?
Yeah. We have wind turbines, and okay, that's later this evening's listening sorted.
There we go. Homework, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that then brings us to a very sort of sensible point of is there somewhere a collective point where people can go and engage with your stuff and your work? Is there a link that people can
Yeah, I mean,
go
it's
to
just,
or follow? Or?
yeah, if you go to my website, which is www.joethomas.me, and all the links are on there.
That's cool.
And
I think I can see Charles in the distance frantically typing. I'm not sure. I feel this might be about to pop.
Yeah.
Yes, there we are. As if by magic. Thank you, sir. He's still there. He's not actually run off and got second dinner or anything. So yeah. So I mean that would
does it
seem.
always have to be an hour long? So
Pardon?
can you cut some of this out? No.
What?
No, we're just
Gold.
randomly
John, this has been
nattering.
gold.
I'm talking about angels.
Yeah.
You have to watch the other ones where we talk about squirrels or shamans. Honestly, I'm not joking. This is on par. On par. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No. Don't stress. And
you've been a
no,
fantastic guest.
No, I'll be thinking about that all night now.
Well, no, but that was a genuine thing, and it was a genuine thing about your work, and it's lovely.
It
you
was.
know, and that was kind of the point. And should we wrap that up there? You know?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So.
I think if we were in a real space, it should end with a big group hug. But since we can't do that, I just have to do the old virtual. And Joe, thank you very much. Your work is lovely. Thank you for sharing.
It is. Thank you so much. And I think I might go and put it on again and cook the remains of my Sunday roast dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for indulging me.
Oh no, it's an absolute pleasure, and thank you for taking the time on what's obviously a pretty hectic schedule that we won't entirely go into.
So thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Charles, who's in the background somewhere down the bottom looking after all of us. Yeah.
I'm going to email Charles and ask him some questions, actually. So
go for it.
About some stuff. That's cool. Okay.
Right, in which case, on the strength of that, this has been a Oscilloscope deep dive. We're back with one of the normal events on the last Tuesday of the month, which date I can't think of because that's far too far ahead. It'll be the last Tuesday of this month.
27th.
Joe Thomas. Oh, 27th. Thank you, Ben. Joe Thomas, Benjamin Buck. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody in Internet land, for listening and putting up with us to the end. Night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.